Hello everyone, this will be chapter 50 of The Second Life of the Guardian, written and read by Insect Overlord. This chapter is titled, Punch Them in the Face, Keep Me Safe. Ari clutched her backpack straps with gloved hands as she stared up at the school's front door. Ready? Her dad asked, pausing before he opened it. Her sister had her own school to go to, and her mom had work, which left her dad to drop her off on her first day. She would have preferred Izuku or Inko, but she didn't get the choice. Ari nodded. She wasn't ready. Not really, but she didn't want to bother her dad about it. He'd already sat her down and explained how the day would go, who her teacher was, and what to do if she got overwhelmed. If she told him she wasn't ready, he'd make her go anyway. Hizashi opened the door and beckoned her inside. Ari crossed the threshold with shaky legs and was met with the kind face of whom she assumed was her teacher. She had pale skin and long black hair with what looked to be stars shining throughout it when the light hit it just right. "Oh, you must be Ari-chan," she said, placing the clipboard she had been holding on the counter before crouching in front of the small child. "I'm Takahashi-sensei. I'm excited to have you in my class. Would you like me to take your backpack for you?" Ari quickly shook her head no and clutched the backpack straps closer to herself. Her mom had just gotten it for her, and her horsey was inside. Why would she give it to a stranger? "That's all right. How about I show you to your cubby, and you can hang it up yourself then?" Takahashi amended. Ari looked up to her dad hesitantly, who smiled. He finished signing her in before gently squeezing her shoulder. "That sounds like a great idea. A cubby is a place that's all your own. You can put your backpack there and it'll be safe," he soothed, seeming to read her mind. "I'm going to leave you now, but I'll pick you up at 2. That's after you eat lunch and have a nap, all right?" Ari still wasn't sure, but Hizashi didn't look worried. That meant everything would be okay, right? She didn't know. Her gut still squirmed uncomfortably at the thought of being alone, but her dad's words comforted her, at least a little bit. Her mind flashed to the time in the hospital a few months ago. Izuku had called her strong, the strongest. She had to show them she could do this. "Okay," Ari agreed quietly, giving her dad a hug. She let go quickly, afraid of losing her resolve, and followed her new teacher to the classroom. The room wasn't anything like she had expected. In all the shows she'd watched, classrooms were big and mostly empty aside from a neat row of desks. This room, however, was small, and the closest thing to desks were 2 round tables with bowls of crayons in the center. Ari counted 6 children. She could count all the way to 20, and only sometimes forgot a few numbers. Aniki said she was super smart, which was much less than she thought there'd be. She felt a bit of the tension leave her shoulders. "Everyone, this is Ari-chan. She's going to be joining the class. Say hello." The children paused their various activities to briefly chorus, "Hello, Ari-chan," before going back to whatever they were doing before. "You can hang your backpack here," Takahashi said, gesturing to one of the hooks by the door, "and your shoes go on the shelf underneath." Ari followed her instructions, taking off her backpack and shoes. She unzipped the bag to give Horsey a quick kiss on the head before zipping it back up and hanging it on the hook. Then she turned to observe the rest of the children. There were 3 kids roughhousing in the corner with foam wedges, 2 playing with a train set by the shelf of toys, and 1 sitting at the tables, coloring. Ari watched the girl with a frown, shuffling her socked feet. She was all alone, just like Ari. Maybe she wanted someone to talk to? Ari crept over to the table and sat down. The girl didn't look up, and Ari fidgeted nervously, unsure what to say. How had Purple Sparkle said to make friends? She knew it was important to be nice, but what else? What are you coloring?" she asked hesitantly. The girl glanced up, tilting her head. "Oh, you're new. Ari, right?" Ari nodded. "I'm Satsuki. Kero. I'm drawing Miraculous. She's my favorite hero. Eri gaped. Miraculous? She yelled, far louder than she'd spoken all day. She's my favorite hero too. Satsuki smiled. Sick, she croaked. Eri tilted her head. You're not feeling well? Do I need to call your mom? My mom said to call her if I don't feel well. No, sick doesn't always mean sick. My brother told me it can also mean you think something's super awesome. Oh, okay. So, if you like Miraculous and I like Miraculous, does that mean we're best friends forever? Eri was pretty sure that's how those things worked. Sure, Kero, she agreed, before leaning in with her hand cupped around her mouth, as if sharing a secret. I've never had a best friend before. Me either, Eri whispered back. You're my first one. I guess we'll have to be best friends forever then, Satsuki said, finger resting on her chin in thought. Sick. The two of them colored together for a while, before a few of their classmates got curious about the new kid and decided to talk to her. Why are you wearing those weird gloves? One kid with bright orange hair that almost flickered like fire asked. Eri looked down at her gloves. They covered 3 of her fingers, leaving her pointer and thumb exposed. They were a nice purple color, and the material was soft on her sensitive skin. They were her quirk counselor's idea, a fail-safe for her quirk. She was much better at controlling it, so they were more to curb her anxiety than anything, but Eri liked having them. They made her feel safe. They're for my quirk, so I don't accidentally use it, she explained quietly. The boy wrinkled his nose. Why don't you want to use it? Do you have a scary quirk or something? Well, Eri was pretty scared of her quirk. Izuku wasn't. She said her quirk could help a lot of people, but Eri wasn't so sure. The only thing it was good for was making people disappear. Yeah, she admitted. I wear the gloves so I don't make anyone disappear. The boy jumped back, then pointed at her as he yelled, You're a villain then! Get back, villain! I'm going to defeat you. What? Eri asked, leaning away from him in shock. No, I'm not. I'm good, I promise. She would never hurt anyone on purpose. She wasn't a villain, right? Nuh-uh, the boy denied. If you have a scary quirk, that makes you a villain. It's the rules. But I have gloves, so... She started, holding her hands out for him to see better, but he stumbled farther back with a shriek. Don't touch me! What if you make me disappear? Eri was about to argue again, but was interrupted by Satsuki calmly leaving her seat to punch the boy in the face. You're a dummy, Haruto. She has gloves on, so she can't use her quirk. And she's not a villain, she's my best friend. So quit being a butthead, or I'll punch you again. Kero. Haruto stopped crying, and Satsuki was put in timeout. But she didn't look like she minded, and Eri couldn't bring herself to feel sorry for the boy. Actually, she was beginning to think she was the one that punched in the face, with how much her cheeks were hurting as she grinned widely. Her best friend called Haruto a dummy and a butthead for her. She met Satsuki's eyes from where she sat in timeout across the room, and found that she was smiling as well. Maybe Izuku was right. School wasn't so bad. This concludes Chapter 50 of The Second Life of the Guardian. Hooray! We're already at Chapter 50. That's crazy. I never, ever, if you talk to 12-year-old me, I never would have believed I would be writing anything. I hated writing so much. Yet, here we are. Also, Eri is an iPad kid, and you cannot convince me otherwise. That's it for this. Next chapter should be up soon, and thank you so much for listening.